ओम नमो गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः गणपति विनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरया। ओम नमो गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः गणपति विनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरया। गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः गणपति विनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरया। गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः गणपति विनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरया। ओम गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः गणपति विनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरया। ओम गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः गणपति विनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरया। गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः गणपति विनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरया। गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः गणपति विनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरया। गणपति बाबा मोरया। गणपति बाबा मोरया। गणपति बाबा मोरया।
नमः शिवाय शांताय बम भोला बाबा।
नमः शिवाय शांताय बम भोला बाबा। नमः शिवाय शांताय बम भोला
भोला बाबा
Lesson 1, 2, 3. प्रेम से बोलो श्री कृष्ण चंद्र की जय। Let us stand as we have our opening arati of this, the first night of our 7 nights Garu Puran Yajna. Let us focus our mind at the lotus-like feet of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. As we sing of the arati, we perform that arati, that circular motion you make with that light. You are forging an infinite bond between yourself and Bhagavan. So as you surrender yourself totally and completely at the feet of Bhagavan, that light which represents all our love and devotion, which represents our true self, we offer that unto the Lord. Vasudevasutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadguru. Om Sajayan Chumurti Sanyutam Vahinayotikam Vinanadevashya Vaidya Dhirapaha Jnani Japadi Janmantarisha Sadhikani Vinashyanti Pradakshana Pari Pari.
Thank you.
प्रेम से बोलो श्री कृष्ण चंद्र की जय। Take your seats, please. May I, on behalf of the members of the Shri Parameshwari Durga Devi Ashram Incorporated, on behalf of the Board of Management, on behalf of our administrative groups and units, extend a most cordial welcome to each one of you here tonight to this, the first of 7 nights of Garu Puran Yajna. Special welcome to Pandit Devendra Maharaj, who is here with us early to conduct our puja, which allow us to commence our yajna. On stage with us tonight are members of our Saraswati Sangeet Bhakti Mandali, and tonight we are joined by our 2 close friends and associates, Mr. Singh and Ms. Chandra, coming in from Pinal. To all of you who are coming in from far and wide, first night, and I'm seeing Grandi here. I see Ryan from over here too. Grandi people here. And then we had Deep South people here. And then we have even Charlieville Central people too. So it is quite encouraging to see that wherever the name of the Lord is being chanted, devotees are taking the time to go to those venues, to listen, to perform devotion to the feet of the Lord. Tonight's discourse is taken from the pages of the Garur Puran. And before we go into the depths of tonight's discourse, let me clear up or give you some information of Garur Puran. Because you know, from the time this yagya, I didn't start this yet. I threw it out to the membership and I asked what yagya all I want to do this year. That was last year. And then I made some suggestions. I said we have Bhagavad, we have Devi Bhagavad, we have Bhagavad Puran, we have all the others. And I said do Garur Puran. Okay, so I said we'll do Garur Puran. When we was preparing for the yag, one or two people say, why are they doing that prayers for? Why are we doing Garur Puran for? Garur Puran is one of those texts because it deals with a particular topic. There's a lot of fear and a lot of superstition that is associated with it. But the opposite is true. It is a text of reality. Nobody come here to make stone. One day to come, just as you were born, you have to die. Garur Puran tells you everything you need to know about the soul's journey in this life and in the hereafter. And there is only one section, probably the biggest section in Garur Puran that is well known, that is the Preta Kand. That is where we will be reading the majority of the Garur Puran from. But there are other kandas or other books within the Garur Puran that deals with the glories of Lord Vishnu, with the different aspects of Dharma. Actually, a section of the Ayurvedic text is also found in Garur Puran. There's a whole section on Dhanvantari where he gives remedies for different herbal remedies for different ailments. So normally when you talk about Garur Puran, you only think about death and funeral and all that kind of thing. That is far from the truth. But because it is the biggest kand of the Garur Puran, it is the most expounded. And the Garur Puran, among all the other Puranas, is the chief authority on what happens to the soul as it makes its journey in this life and in the hereafter too. All of the other scripture, they give you ideals, they give you doctrines, they prescribe different rites and rituals for you to live in this life. Garur Puran does not focus on those things. It focuses on the soul's journey in this life and in the hereafter. Every night I will give you a little piece of the Mahatma of the Garur Puran. The Mahatma in any of the scripture tells you of the greatness of that scripture. It helps you appreciate that scripture a little more. The goal of our Garur Puran Yajna, therefore, is to give you information as to your duties and responsibility while you are alive, to allow you to critically analyze yourself and identify your shortcomings or those things that you are doing well, and give you information on how to improve or to change a scenario that you may not be pleasing to you. It also gives the consequences of certain karmas, and it gives information on what the soul's journey based on karma after you have left the physical body. So the Preta Kand of Garur Puran tells you everything you need to know of the soul's journey from the time of conception, how the soul evolves and develops into the womb, at the time of birth, what happens, the course of life, why some people are born in poverty, some people are born in riches. Garuda Puran helps you understand those type of things. It tells you what happens as death approaches. At the time of death, what happens? Garuda Puran teach you how to die too. You know there's a way to do everything, eh? There's a way to death too, in case you didn't know. There's a correct way to death and a wrong way to death. 99% of the time, the wrong way. So Garuda Puran tells you at the time of death what happens, and once the soul exits the body, what happens. So this is the scenario in the Preta Kand of the Garuda Puran. It is not a book of superstition, but in fact it is a book of reality. But because it discusses the topic of death, a lot of people shy away from it. It is like preparing for an exam. You know you cannot ignore. You must go through that exam at some point in time, but you choose to be ignorant to it. Just as we are born, we are guaranteed to die. That is the only guarantee you have in life, you know. Once you are born, you are guaranteed to die. And you will see statements in Garuda Puran. When you were born, death took birth with you. If Lord Brahma says you have 50 years to live, from the first breath ahead, do you still have 50 years to live? You will see all of that scenarios in Garuda Puran. Before we go into the topic of discussion for tonight, let us clasp our hands together, close our eyes. Let us first of all contemplate on Bhagwan Ganapati, he who is the giver of success, the remover of all forms of obstacles, and always first and foremost among the host of the devatas. We seek the blessings of Devi Saraswati, that mother who enlightens our intelligence. Help us to absorb and understand the knowledge. To the blessed Guru, who are the ambassadors of God upon earth, the link between humanity and divinity, and to Bhagavan Shri Krishna, the presiding deity of the Garuda Puran. Everybody together. कृपा वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातुमहावन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् सागरस्थितिं विनाशनं जगतो यो जगमायः मूलभूतो नमस्तस्मै श्रीकृष्णावे परमात्मने नमोऽस्तुते। ॐ देवकी नन्दन विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो कृष्णा प्रचोदयात्। Everybody together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namaha. प्रेम से बोलो वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। So let us remain in that meditative state, and as loudly as you can, let us blend our voices together. Put your hands together as we have bhajans to Bhagwan Ganapati.
जय जय गणपति, जय गणपति, जय गणेश, जय गणपति, जय जय
Thank you.
प्रेम से बोलो गजानन स्वामी की जय. The Garu Puran is a discussion between Garuji and Lord Vishnu. And all of our scriptures follow the tradition where one person asks and the other person replies. In the Garu Puran, it is Garuji, the bird or the vehicle of Lord Vishnu, is asking Lord Vishnu himself various questions, and Ved Vyas recorded this conversation, compiled it, and call it by the name of Garu Puran. All of our scriptures compiled by Ved Vyas, he named the scriptures appropriately. So here in the Pretakan of the Garu Puran, Garuji is asking Lord Vishnu, "O Lord, tell me about the phenomenon of death. Who experiences death? What is death?" So I want to keep a note of these questions. So at the end of tonight's yajna or satsang, you are supposed to have the answer. What is death? Who dies? And what becomes of the soul after death? And here, what becomes of the soul after death, immediately after it exits the body. Throughout the course of the 7 nights, you'll hear the hereafter, what happens. So immediately as the soul comes out of the body, what happens? How does it look? How does it take shape? So tonight we'll answer these questions. Ved Vyas is recording, and these are the questions of Garuji. So let us hear what Lord Vishnu has to say. Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah, 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 Shiva Adi Shiva Shivaya Shivaya Nityurjita Shiva Shivaya Omaya Yukshaya Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah, 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 Shri Krishna प्रेम से बोलो श्री कृष्ण चंद्र की. So Garuji is asking, "Oh Lord, what is death?" And Lord Vishnu simply replies, "Death is the separation, is the permanent separation of the soul from the body." So what is that? It is the permanent separation of the soul from the body. Where do that occur? That is only known on Mrityulok. Where is Mrityulok? Where is Mrityulok? Anybody have apps and knowledge smartphone to pull out that? Huh? Where do birth and death take place? Right here. So planet Earth is also known as Mrityulok. So death is a phenomenon known to Mrityulok. That is why Mrityu means death. That place where death continuously takes place. In the heavens, the devatas don't have a physical body. They have an astral body. So too in the hellish regions, the demons, they don't have a physical body. They have an astral body. And later on, as the yajna proceed, you will see the definition of a devata, how the soul could get promoted to being a devata, or how the soul can get demoted to being a demon, based on karma. So the phenomenon of death occurs on Mrityulok. We are the only planet in God's creation where the jiva, or the soul, embodied soul, and these are terminologies you need to understand. Atma refers to the soul, but when you hear the word jiva, it means an embodied soul, a soul that is not yet liberated. It is going through the cycle of birth and death. So most of us, or all of us, are Jiva Atmas. And you continue to be a Jiva as long as there are Vasanas in the soul carry Vasanas with it. Vasanas, as just a fancy word, mean packages of karma. And that package of karma is not only from this life. So the Jiva Atma, the embodied soul, experiences Mrityu, experiences death. And death is a phenomenon known to this loka, planet Earth. It is on this lok that creatures or jivas exist in a physical form. Here in the earthly realm, the Prithvi Tattva, or the earth element, is the most dominant element. That is why all life form has a fixed physical structure. In the heavens, the devatas, they are known as suras. In the Vedas, you don't see the word devatas. Especially in Rig Veda, in the stotras of the Rig Veda, you see the word suras being used. Suras means beings of light. So the fire element dominates in their body, so they can transform from one shape to another. They are not limited in a physical form. They can change their form, take any shape they want. And the asuras, which is the opposite of suras, they are the residents of the different patal regions. They don't have a physical form like us, but the air element dominates in them. They too are able to manipulate their form They're able to transform and take any form and shape they want. But unlike the Devatas, which are beings of light, they are beings of darkness. So the human form or the physical form, be it plant, animal or human being, the earth element dominates. That is why once you have a body, you cannot change that structure as long as the soul is in that body. You can do what to it? Dress it up how you want, manipulate it how you want. It will always be a fixed physical form. If the Devatas choose to be a human, take the form of a human being, they can appear as a human being, they can appear as an animal, they can appear as a plant. People cannot do those things. Same thing, the demons can appear as people, they can appear as animal, they can appear as plant. Scriptures are loaded with example. Isn't that so? So on this planet, where the earth element dominates the physical form, beings has a physical body, and once you have the soul inhabits a physical body, then death will take place. And the definition given in Garu Puran, what is death? Death is the permanent separation of the soul from the body. So Garuji is asking, O Narayan, if the soul exits the body and death is meant to be a permanent separation of the soul from the body, how does the soul behave after it leaves the body? Immediately after it leaves the body. What are the likes and dislikes of the soul? What is the temperament of the soul? These are the type of questions Garuji is asking Lord Vishnu. Before I go to the relevant verse, tell me of your own. When somebody dies, how you expect them to behave? Not the physical body that died. How you think the person will behave? You ever thought about it? You know why some of us don't think about it? Because we just don't want to confront our mortality. You know, it has certain people. Nearly in every family they have them. So it's not any one special group of people. Nearly everybody family have them. When they hear certain song, they say, what happened? Or the woman is dead quick or what? Huh? From the time they hear certain type of song start to sing, they start to cry. They hear it on the radio or the TV, take it off. You know they hear that? But strange enough, if you listen to those songs, the words, not the music, if you listen to the words of those songs, they tell a story. And they remind us of what is our ultimate outcome. So Garuji is asking that, O Narayan, what is the temperament of the soul immediately after it leaves the body? How does it behave? Can it experience hunger and thirst? Without a form, does it have sensations? Like touch and feel and sadness and happiness and joy and sorrow. Understanding this part of it is important as we go forward, because there's a section where you read, you'll see what soul is fit to be reincarnated, which one goes to the heavens, which one is condemned to the hellish regions. We'll look at the concept of heaven and hell from Garu Puran, if there is such a place called heaven and hell, as the yajna proceeds. We'll see how influential this concept of karma is in our daily life. We'll see how karma is created. Some people think it's only when you do something physically, that alone is karma. You'll be shocked after this yajna to see how much thing is karma. So all of these are questions will be, Garuji is asking Lord Vishnu. So let us hear what Lord Vishnu is about to describe. Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah, 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 Yam Rajaki Sri Chandraguptaya Pustakati Shakti Shakipaya Paramati Karamati Pallam Karnakita Chitrakitaya Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah, Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah, Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah, Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah. प्रेम से बोलो वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की. Again, first night, man, come on. Tomorrow is a holiday, you don't have to go to work, so you can shout and, get what? Pretend all in for the spend carnival weekend. प्रेम से बोलो वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की. Better. By the way, all of our scriptures tells you to escape the harsh punishment of Yama, the god of death, you take the name of the Lord. So the louder he hear you taking the name of Lord Krishna, and in Bhagavad Puran there is a nice katha of Jamil, where Jamil, he was looking at his son and thinking about his son, and because his son name was Narayan, and he called the name Narayan at the time of death, Lord Vishnu came to his assistant, not the Yamduts at all. On another occasion, when we're doing Bhagavad, we will look at that. The power of the name of God. So the more you sing along the name of Bhagavan, Yamaraj is going to say, see them people over there, let me give them some extra points. And then in Shiv Puran you have the other word Markandeya, the little boy Markandeya, when he held that lingam and he hugged it up, and he continued to chant that mantra of Lord Shiva. When Yam appeared, what he had to do? Under Shiva's instruction, he had to go back. So when we are singing along, you join in. We should never be ashamed of the name of God. So Sriman Narayan, he is saying, oh Garuji, to know the nature of the soul, first of all, understand death is presided over by Yama. He is the god of death. So what is the name of the lord of death? Huh? Yama. Or we say Yamaraj. Yama is the Ashta Rudra avatar. Ashta means, come on, all who went Hindu school. Ashta means 8. Rudra is Lord Shiva. Avatar means form, right? Using simplest form. So, Lord Yamaraj is the 8th incarnation. Lord Shiva is the 8th incarnation of Lord Shiva. Just as Hanuman is the Ekadash Rudra, right? Just as Hanuman, which is a popular one that everybody knows, he is the 11th form of Lord Shiva. Yamaraj is the 8th form of Lord Shiva. Another popular one that you all know, Bhairav Baba, the Pancha Rudra avatar, he is the 5th incarnation of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva's avatar is Yamaraj. And this is consistent with the function of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the destroyer, not necessarily the destroyer in terms of mashing up everything, but he is also the rejuvenator. So in order for a new beginning to start, there must be an end. Through Yama, he brings about that end. Yama is also the cosmic judge. He is the one that judges all of our actions, all of our karmas. No other deity has been given the authority to preside over and judge another individual. No human being has been given the authority to judge another. So if I see you doing something, now according to our social norms, there is right and wrong. Our scriptures guide us into understanding and doing that which is right and wrong. But there are certain things where not you and I will have a final say in it. For example, if a mosquito biting you right now, what will you do? You'll kill it. But you know, if you kill something, that is a negative karma you're generating there. Who are you or I to say what you did is wrong? Only Yamaraj has that right, and that circumstances. But like we say, you're lineman, your head real nice in the bath, or argument break out, you cuff down the fella, he hit his head on the ground and he dead. What you call that from a legal point of view? Murder, right? Social norm dictate that is something very wrong and there are consequences for it, right? So, and that's at that level, from a societal point of view, we have that structure in place which Manu allow us to put in place to govern our society in a progressive manner. But the karma behind that alone is Yamaraj to determine that. So Garuji, Lord Vishnu is telling Garuji that Yama, who is the 8th incarnation of Lord Shiva, preside over death. And the phenomenon of death belongs to him alone. And he continues, he says, "1 year before the death of an individual, Yama starts looking at your karma. So he will consult Chitragupta and he will order Chitragupta to open the book of life pertaining to your karmas. And he will start to analyze. Upon completing his analysis, he will give instructions on the particular day and time in which the Yamaduts are to seize the soul." Garu Puran continues, Lord Vishnu says, that conscious devotee who is alert spiritually, who has the grace of the Guru upon him, are able to identify the signs of Yama's approach. 6 months before, now this is not something unique to Hinduism. If you study Greek philosophy, and you study Roman philosophy, you will see similarities. After all, they just borrowed, the Greeks in particular, they just borrowed everything from Hinduism straight out into their culture. At the time of the Indus Valley civilization, the main trade route for Europe was through Greece, which took place from India to Greece. So a lot of exchange of cultures took place. And the Greeks borrowed a lot of Hinduism out of them. For example, right now if you go in Athens, the capital of Greece, Mount Olympus, you will see the temple of Zeus. And if you read about the description of Zeus in Greek mythology, you can easily figure out who is Zeus in Hinduism. Zeus is described as chariot riding, thunderbolt wielding, king of the gods. Who in Hinduism fits that description? Indradev. So who we worship to as Indra in Sanatan Dharma is Zeus in Greek mythology. And that is how much the Greeks have borrowed wholesale out of Sanatan Dharma. And just as in Vedic astrology, Brihaspati or Jupiter, Indra presides over that graha, so too in Greek mythology, Zeus presides over the planet Jupiter. So there's a lot of similarities. So Lord Vishnu is saying that alert devotee, and alert here means spiritually awake, that knowledgeable individual who took the time to sit at the feet of the Guru, knows when Yama is approaching. And the signs, some of the signs, I wouldn't be able to go through all the signs with you. 6 months before, you have the dogs, Yamaraj dogs. They start making their way to the earthly plane to search out where the Jiva Atma reside. This is very similar to what the Greeks would call the hounds of hell. So Yamaraj, he will dispatch the dogs. So that is why they have this saying, when somebody go to dead, what has happened? Yes, here, dogs crying and all that kind of thing. There is some truth to it. Alright? And the truth is, the animals, like cats and dogs in particular, these domestic animals that are around us all the time, they are able to see the astral world which we cannot. And so, just like a dog seeing a next dog coming in his territory, how you behave? You start to bark and get on. So too, when your dog or the village dog see a strange dog coming in, you can start to get on and all. So you'll have a little bit of commotion. And that happens within a 6-month period of the approach of death. After the dogs of Yama has seeked out the village and the location of the Jiva Atma, the Yamaduts follow. And once the Yamaduts are dispatched, then things with you in your physical form starts changing. For example, your breathing starts to change. The heart rate starts to become irregular. The energy levels of the body starts dropping. The eyesight starts dimming. All of these are signs you're looking for in a short space of time. Also, once the Yamadut start making their progress to where the Jiva resides, the Pitris of these individuals starts informing them Yama is approaching. Who are your Pitris? Your ancestors. So that is why you hear sometimes people saying, the old man only talking about the dead relative. These are things that some of you all experience already, you know, right? I am just giving you the information from a scripture point of view to separate the superstition from what is written in the scripture. When we come to the funeral rites and rituals, you'll see where a lot of superstition is brought into our tradition. We'll deal with that at another night. So the Pitris, as the Yamadut start making their way to where the Jiv Atma resides, the Pitris of these individuals, they start sending subtle messages. Yama is approaching. Correct your ways. Make amendments. Close up your accounts. What you have to do, do it and make peace with yourself. So that is why sometimes you start dreaming your dead relative. And it all happens in a short space of time. We're not talking about today you dream your dead mother or dead father, and 3 years down the road you get next dream about your dead mother, your dead father. You're not talking about everything happens in a short space of time. The individual himself, based on his karma, starts getting visions of the approach of Yama. If the individual has a lot of good karma, images of the Devatas taking him on pleasure journeys. Like for example, you'll hear some people say, before the mother or the father die, they dream Lord Krishna or Durga Mata or Lord Hanuman taking them and going somewhere with them. I'm sure some of you heard had these kind of discussions and so on. If the person has a lot of bad karma, instead of getting visions or dreams of ascending, they get visions of falling, traveling to the south direction, seated on a donkey or other lowly animal with head shaved. So anytime you dream somebody shaving your head, and also it says here, strangers dressing you. And you dream people around you putting on clothes for you, people shaving your head, you're riding on a donkey, you're riding on a kobo, or you have these animals around you, and you're facing south, look out. Let me go to a little bit of Ramayana now. When Ravan had to meet his end at the hands of Sri Ram, a few days before, what visions he was having? Huh? He was traveling to the south, riding on a? Oh gosh man, all it is do so much of Ramayana here and go so much of Ramayana. Agaraha! All you know is Agaraha? Don't call nobody that. Ravan got these, even Kans. Before Krishna killed Kans, as soon as Krishna entered into Mathura, Kans started to see snakes all over his room. And when the people looking for, when his maidservants looking for it, they can't find the snake. They only he alone seeing the snake. And as the days come, as Krishna spent more and more time in Mathura, what he was seeing himself decapitated. One night he'll dream him without hands, he'll dream himself without a head. When you're having these kind of dreams of injury being done to you, he saw demons dressing him in different clothing. So these are signs that Yama is approaching. And Guruji is asking that, hey Shri Hari, what is the best thing to do? What is the best karma that individual should perform if he should be lucky enough to realize the approach of Yama? So there's another important question. If you should realize that your time has come, what should you do? I'm trying to be as simple as possible without going into too much of the technical stuff. It makes no sense you come and you sit down an hour and a half here, you hear certain nice big words or fancy slopes, and you cannot apply it to your daily life. So I'm trying to take what we have here, that's why I'm quoting the verses and giving it in as simple as I can. If by chance you don't understand anything, just let me know. By now you all know how I prefer to do these type of sessions. I prefer if we have a discussion, not a lecture. Alright? So if there is something you don't understand, tell me. So if you are fortunate to realize the approach of Yama, what should you do? Let us hear. Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah, 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah. Yama Sarve ki Kaya Gurudeva ki Dhartataya Aradhana ki Harikaya Paramvari Jatritaya Shri Harinatha Harinatha Tulsi Keka Jalasuthaya Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah, 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah. Prem se bolo Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki. So what should you do when your time has come? And you shouldn't wait until you get these signs, because based on your karma it can be sudden, and again based on your karma it can be prolonged. Once there is consciousness in the body, every attempt should be made to complete what you have started to the best of your ability. So Lord Vishnu says, from the time you realize that you have closed up your business here upon earth, or you are considering doing that, you should get the blessings of your Guru. Sit down with your Guru and consult with him. Tell him, I have reached this stage in my life. It is time that I hand over to my children or my grandchildren, and I want to know your advice based on the scripture. What should be done in this last stage of my life? How many of us do that? And based on your own temperament, your Guru and you would have a relationship over the many years. He will recommend certain sadhanas for you. And one of the recommendations is Ish Devta Aradhana, meaning your chosen deity. You intensify the devotion to your deity. And he says, Nam Smaran Jap, through the medium of Nam Jap. That is chanting the name. Again, we come back to the power of the name of God. One should worship Sri Hari through the medium of the Shaligram, taking the Shaligram Jal and the tulsi as the prasad. And this starts cleansing the individual in preparation for exit from the body. Now, although this is written here, you have to have the grace of God to do this. Like that is why I told you before. It can be sudden, or it could be long and drawn out, based on your karma. You cannot want to get up one morning and said, when I'm going to die, I'm going to chant the name of God. It ain't going to happen so at all. Later on you will hear, when you're dying, what happens to you mentally. Actually, that's coming up in the verse right after this one. So your personal sadhana, you start intensifying your personal devotion. So if you're a devotee of Lord Vishnu, you do the mantras of Lord Vishnu, the names of Lord Vishnu. If you're a devotee of Lord Shiva, you intensify your devotion to Lord Shiva. The goal is here, however, is not to accumulate the riches of the earth, but start to make peace with yourself so that you can surrender to Bhagwan when that time comes. And with that in mind, sipping of the jal of the abhishek of the shaligram, sipping of the jal of the tulsi helps. Now I want you to see the traditions. When somebody is sick and in bed, what they just give them to drink? Now the tulsi water. Why? Why tulsi water? This is where it came from. This is where it is written. So this is where the authority for doing something like that comes from. What you may not know is why you do it. And you see that doing things without knowing, that is dangerous. That is why when I am doing yagyas, I need you to understand the things you are doing. If your grandfather run in front of a big truck, you go and run in front of a big truck too? Huh? Yes, someone is shaking on their head so. Huh? Just like some of the grandparents doing cock puja. Are still doing cock puja and all? Why are you doing it? I don't know the old people who are still doing it. Understand what you're doing. Why you put the tulsi water in the mouth of somebody who is on their deathbed? Our scripture says, in order to purify the soul so it can have an easy exit to the next life, the tulsi jal is important. So now you know why you do it. Right? If you didn't know, now you know. And also, if you were to go back to what the information I just give you, the phenomenon, why some people will talk things they wouldn't normally talk, like they've seen this one and they've seen that one, it's not that they're necessarily lost in the sense, because of medical condition that can happen. But sometimes these people, remember, the astral world exists within this physical world too. Alright? So sometimes, because of the phenomenon of death is there, these relatives, these deceased ancestors, they are warning us, make atones, make amends. Yama is on his way already. And look at how our scripture has it. 1 year. Now keep in mind, 1 year on earth is 1 day in the heavens. When you see the soul's journey to the abode of Yam, you know why we just do 2 bandara? Not because Baba was seen her 2 times. 13 days bandara, the soul starts its forward journey. 1 year or 11 months ideally on earth, that is when the soul reaches the abode of Yam. That is where you do your final. After that you have nothing to do. When Pitra Paksh come, that is the most you can give. Acknowledge the soul or acknowledge your relative to Bhagwan Krishna, that whatever they have done for you to be in a better state, you give Bhagwan thanks. You don't give the dead thanks. Hindus, we do pray to dead. We'll touch on all of that on another night. So I want you to understand this. This is something that will confront you whether you choose to accept it or not. It's going to happen, if not to you personally, to somebody in your immediate family. And all of us have to die one day. The process will be different according to karma. But one day to come, all of us have to go. Even Bhagwan, when he takes avatar, he has to go one day too. And by the way, you know when the avatar comes, before he can leave the earth, Yamaraj has his part to play. He has to visit him. Huh? Go back to Ramayana again. Yamaraj and Sri Ram was having their discussion. Yeah, Lakshman interrupted. You all familiar with that? Sometimes that is just one day. Well, let's go to Ramayana for. Huh? Just to hear how nice the Baba singing. Yama has his place to play even with the avatar, with Bhagwan himself. One of those times for Sri Ram to return, Yama had to go and tell Sri Ram, your mission on earth is complete and you must return to your abode. And while that discussion was taking place, Lakshman interrupted and that played out in a different scenario. So this is the things that you must do when listening to the name of God. Chanting of the name of God. That is why sometimes pundits will recommend when somebody is very sick on bed, they'll tell them, make available the use of the technology you have these days. Long ago you had to call somebody to read the Gita. And that will only be a few minutes for probably only one time, one occasion. You have technology available. You can have the different stotras, you can have the different slokas being constantly repeated. You don't have to be blasting the music in the whole house, but the room that person is in, put on the CD and leave it in a very, like a soft background music. And that in itself will energize the environment that the individual is in. You have to make use of the technology of the time that you are living in. Now that, don't get me wrong, that could never replace the Pandit who will come home to do the Gita Path. But remember when Panditji is there, he just do something for a few minutes. Then after that the person will still, some people, they will linger on a little while before they actually pass on. But while that lingering process is taking place, you can still have those verses continuously being played in the environment. You can get your CDs with the Vishnu Sahasranam, Shiv Sahasranam, or whichever deity you worship. The different stotras and mantras pertaining to those deities. Just have it on like a soft background. The entire Ramayana and Bhagavad Gita now is in, you can get them in online. So make use of the technology that currently exists. The Scripture says made use of the technology, you know. In their days, writing in this format was cutting edge technology for them. Today you have different technology available. So Garud, he's asking, what happens? What the individual experiences mentally as Yama, as the Yamadut extracts the soul. Let us hear. And I think after we do this, I'll go up there very nice. So you have to come back next day after. Shri Krishna Sharanam Nama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Nama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Nama, 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah Shri Krishna Sharanam Yamadutita Pasakikaya Mrityurpasha Titatikaya Sahasa Vrikshakikaya Parankesha Tiharikaya Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah Shri Krishna Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah Shri Krishna Sharanam Namah प्रेम से बोलो श्री कृष्ण चंद्र की। So as the Yamaduts come face to face with the jiva that is supposed to be extracted, that is, the attendants of Yamaraj is now standing in front of the person that is to die. At the exact minute that soul is supposed to leave the body, the Mrityu Pasha, the noose of death, is swung around the individual. That is not a physical body. It is swung around the astral. In your body, there are different koshas. The astral body is one body within this physical body. And tomorrow we'll explain more about the astral body. So the Mrityu Pasha is swung around the body of the Jiva Atma, and the Yamadut extracts the soul. So it pulls the soul out of the body. That, O Garud, at the time, for those who are attached and have not yet relinquished attachment to the five senses, those individuals, as the Yamaduts extract the soul from the body, they experience the bite of Srahasta Vriksha. Srahasta means how much? Thousands, right? Thousands. Vriksha means what? Huh? What is Vriksha? Scorpion. Vriksha Rashi, Scorpio. So you experience the bite or the pain similar to 1,000 scorpions stinging you at the same time. And this is what, for those of us who are still attached to the body, who have not made peace, this is the torment, this is the agony we experience when the soul is being extracted. O Garuji, those individuals who are not prepared for death, to those individuals, they will see death, or they will see the Yamaduts in a most gruesome form. So those who have a lot of bad karma and those who are very much bounded to life upon this earth, when the Yamaduts appear in front of them, they're going to appear very horrible. Those sadhus, those devotees who are prepared and by virtue of their good karma to exit this world and to continue their journey forward, the Yamaduts appear like Yama himself in his true form as a peaceful deity. Again, you see how important your karmas are? So those of us who are very much attached and who like to do wickedness, we have not made peace with ourselves. We like to interfere in this people's business and that one business. Make kuchur here, make kuchur there. When Yamraj comes for you, it's like a monster he looks. But if you live your life in a decent way, guided by the scripture, forget what society has to say. When he comes before you, he appears peaceful as the deities. Those of us who are very much attached, who are still bounded by the ropes of Maya. When the Yamaduts pull on their rope, you experience that pain. Pitya tug of war. Maya has you tied up in one rope, and Yamadut has you tied up in one rope, and they're stretching you. How are you going to feel? Huh? You know how you're going to feel? When you go home, let somebody tie this hand with a bed sheet, and let it pull. Right? And you will see how you feel. Now multiply that by 1,000. So that is what, when we are not prepared to go forward, this is the agony we put ourselves through. Yama doesn't cause that to happen to us. And Yamaraj, he gives instruction once the Yamadut left. He says, you are going to bring Mr. X or Mrs. Y for me, and these are the conditions under which you are going to bring him or her to me. And so the Yamaduts have all their instructions. They don't act independently. The Yamaduts are not independent. They act according to the instructions of Yamaraj. When you have time before you leave, I want you to come and take a look at this picture and try to understand. This is the entire Garuda Puran in picture form. You know, we live in a world where visual representation plays a very important part in our education, right? So while I'm reading here, you can make reference to some of the things that you're seeing here. So up there, you're seeing Bhagwan Yamaraj. You're seeing Chitragupta, and he has on his lap the book of life. There, he and Yamaraj is discussing your karma. In front of Chitragupta, he has your scale. He's weighing your good and bad karma. The man and the lady you see next to Yamaraj there, they are already the board of Yam, receiving judgment from him. So let me see which one are they brave enough to make that all a screensaver. Pay attention to it, look at it, and try to understand what you're seeing, and as the night goes by, you'll understand the entire picture. If you don't understand it now, you'll understand it by the time the year is done. So I'll stop here tonight because I don't want to lose you with the amount of information there is. So tomorrow, what we will look at, we tell you how this soul is being extracted. We'll see what happens with the soul when it comes out of the body now. Right? And then we'll see practices from scripture, things like our funeral rituals and so on. Once we finish that, then we'll go on the next day to see the soul's journey to the abode of Yam. Okay? The only diversion I will be doing, there's a part of this discourse where I'll be talking about the Gaudan, while the benefits of the Gaudan is in Garuda Puran. Why a cow? I'll go to Bhagavad Puran to pull that piece of information. Okay? So while Panditji conducts the final Havan, we'll have one appropriate bhajan telling you about the soul. We reach that point where the soul is like a caged animal in this body, and in reality that is what the body is, a cage. And one day to come it has to be free from this cage. So let us have one appropriate bhajan, and then I'll share some more information with you.
पिंजरे के पंछी रे, तेरा जगत में जाने को, तेरा जगत में जाने को, पंछी रे, बाहर से बोलता हूँ सवेरा, बाहर से बोलता हूँ सवेरा, भीतर भीतर खड़ी है भीतर भीतर तेरा दर्द जाने को, तेरा दर्द जाने को, तेरे के पंछी है तेरा दर्द जाने को, तेरा दर्द जाने को।
Jai Govinda, Jai Govinda.
Prem se bolo Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. So just before we have Arati, just let me share some information with you. On Thursday night, we'll be having our Shaligram Puja. Just like when you go to Ramayana Yagya, you will have Rameshwaram Puja. On Thursday night, we'll be having our Shaligram Puja. And everyone, feel free to join in your Shaligram Puja. All you need, simple, just bring along some, if you don't want to organize elaborate prasad, just some simple fruits. Make sure whatever you put in that area, you have tulsi leaves in it. Alright? I have tulsi leaf, but $5 for a leaf. So put tulsi leaf in it, and you come and do your offering. On Wednesday night, what I'm proposing to do is to divert away from Garu Puran and go to Vishnu Puran. So I'll tell you the greatness of the Shaligram. Alright, so when you come Thursday to do the puja, you will appreciate or understand the benefits of what you are doing. Alright, just like I keep telling you, understand what you're doing. Okay, so Wednesday night, I'll do the Shaligram Katha. So I'll be diverting away from the Garu Puran just to give you that information. And Thursday night until the rest of the year, we're going back to our Garu Puran. Before you leave tonight, on my left over here, you'll see a reception area set up. We have membership forms for those of you who want to become registered members of the ashram. We also have our publications or various magazines, including our latest publication. Tonight will be the first night that publication will go on sale. So those of you who want to get copies of your magazines and so on, feel free. On this end, on my left, that is the side over here, you have somebody there to assist you. Membership form, you can take it at home, fill out the information and return it to us. Please know that if you're filling out that form, please don't fold the form. Eventually what we're going to do is enter that information into a database. Any document you crease and you try to scan it in a computer, it comes out in a block. Okay? So don't fold the forms. Fill it out, follow the information and instructions on it, return it to us. And any information you want pertaining to the ashram and its activities, you can also get it over there. Okay? We have upcoming right after this year our Ganesh Utsav, which will be in-house over here. And our Devi Yatra, which will be national. And then we have our Diwali celebration, which will be right here too. Okay? So as the night goes by, I'll give you updates as to what we're doing. This magazine, please try your best and help us. Take a magazine. It is our way of raising funds to help build our ashram. Again, as the night unfolds, I'll tell you, I'll give you a status update as to where things are with the construction of our ashram and so on. Okay, so let us stand as we have, and we have our raffle. The raffle is specifically geared towards building the ashram building. Okay, and the raffle is very affordable. Wait now, we supposed to be in fasting period now, right? So the money only have for KFC, buy magazine and buy raffle, right? Raffle is $20 for one, magazine is $50 for one. So after this year we have Christian Janan coming, everybody's supposed to be fasting, then the Ganesh Utsav, everybody's supposed to be fasting, Pitra Paksh, Diwali, Shivratri, Navratram, long fasting period. So the KFC money, buy raffle with it. So let us stand as we have our concluding arati. Mukam karoti varcharam pangolangayate girim yat kripa tumahabande paramananda madhavam Om Sajayantu Murti Tanukam Mahinayo Nisandrikaya Yayokya Siddhapaha Yani Jani Japani Janmantar Jani Cha Kani Kani Vinashyati Pradakshata Pare Pare
Arati Kunjati Pari
As we come to an end of tonight's devotion, we give thanks to God for the opportunity to congregate, to perform our puja, to engage in our bhajans and kirtans, and to read of our discourses. We seek forgiveness if there may be any errors committed. Lastly, we ask to have our desires fulfilled, all obstacles removed from our daily life. Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu, Mangalam Garudadvija, Mangalam Pundarikaksha, Mangalayatano Hari. Tvameva Mata, Japita, Tvameva, Tvameva Bandhu, Chasika, Tvameva, Tvameva Vedya, Dravinam, Tvameva, Tvameva Sarvam, Mama Deva Deva. Om Mantrahinam, Kriyahinam, Bhaktihinam, Janardanam, Yakujitam, Maya Deva, Paripurnam Karastu me, Kayena Vacha, Manasrindriyatva, Buddhyatmanava, Prakriti Swabhagya. Karoni yagyam sakalam tarasmai Narayananeti samarpayami Narayananeti samarpayami. Om Shanti, 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 ये मंत्र मन है Om Shanti, ये बनी मंगल बनी है Om Shanti, 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 from the very top of your voices. Let us proclaim victory for our way of life. Let us establish firmly and confidently our presence and identity, and for our noble religion, Sanatan Dharma. प्रेम से बोलो गजानन स्वामी की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय, जगदम्बिका दुर्गा माता की जय, श्री सत्यनारायण स्वामी की जय, श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय, प्रेम से बोलो श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। जय जय सीताराम। Take your seats. So tonight we had, this is our first night. We have the entire week ahead of us. Tomorrow is a public holiday, by the way. So I expect to see more of you here tonight, tomorrow night. But as indeed, I'm very happy to see so much of you for our first night. Please feel free to bring along anyone you wish. This is a public yagya. Seated tonight are members of our ashram. We have Judy and her family, and we have Radha and Patsy joining in. Today, one of the most hardworking men in the ashram group is celebrating his Janmadin, his birthday. So on behalf of myself, my family, and behalf of the ashram family, we extend to you happy birthday, and we do wish you much more in the future. So we go over to member on stage who will have render appropriate bhajan or song.